Hello, I'm Sidney Janis. My wife and I, Harriet, opened the doors to the Sidney Janis Gallery in 1948. We were discovered as art collectors, dealers, and businessmen that helped us reestablish our gallery's reputation by showing exhibitions of famous artists all over the world. Before opening up our gallery, they had been collectors of modern art for 25 years. Art was our passion from the 1920s when we had met and continued to grow ever since. One of our biggest struggles together from the 40s was artists not doing financially well. That was challenging for them and for us to see it being hard for artists to make a living off of their work. After we opened our business, we were able to help out artists and give them a place to show their work and have more media recognition for the artists in the area. One of our most famous shows that we had hosted was the New Realist. It was run from October 31st to December 31st of 1962. The most famous artists that were represented in the show was Roy Lichtenstein, Andy Warhol, Claes Oldenburg, James Rosenquist, and George Segal. The New Realists were the first scale show of pop art that took place in America, working alongside other paintings from France, England, and Italy. These group of artists were assembled to show the importance of American pop art history. Most of the artists were fascinated by the supermarket culture and made images based off their representation of foods from the time period. One of the most known paintings from the time was Andy Warhol's Campbell's Soup Can. From then on, everyone would recognize the image and know automatically what it was from. A few big themes from the gallery showed the ideas of factual artists, pop art, and food. The images placed in the gallery show ideas of what the foods or supermarket culture was like at the time. It was inaccurate to history. It helped us to have a good reputation of what pop art showed from 1962. Also, their love for food took place considering they had all various images relating to food. Our hope when showing the world the New Realists would be to help everyone see pop art in a new way. This movement was a modern art that was meant to bring the world of modern art and all other art forms together. Our goal was to help others respond and feel to art in a new way due to the fact that art was dying. Now, we hope you enjoy the show.
My name is Andy Warhol, and I was born in 1928 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My passion for art began when I was just a typical intelligent, creative kid. My mother bought me my first camera at a young age, which I did a lot of experimenting with. This experimentation inspired my interest for film and movie stars. I graduated high school at an early age of 16. When I was 14, my father passed away, leaving our family with a sum of money to be used towards sending one of my family members to college. I was then chosen to be the most fit to use this money to attend college at the Carnegie Institute of Technology. After college and throughout my early career, I was highly involved in commercial illustration. A popular piece of my art that was included in the exhibition were my Campbell's soup cans. To any ordinary person, they seem almost boring, but to me they are much more than that. My vision for painting these were to take ordinary objects that consumers used every day and alter them to my vision. These ordinary objects were ones that I always have thought to be very beautiful. I have always had an eye to notice the uniqueness in ordinary objects. Another popular piece that was included was my painting of Marilyn Monroe. This piece came from my inspiration of movie stars and film that I have been fascinated with from a young age.
My name is Claes Oldenburg, and I was born in 1929 in Stockholm, Sweden, but moved to the United States as a child, and I ended up on the New York art scene in the 1960s. Although I am most well known for my collaborations with cities and art schools to produce some of the largest lifelike sculptures ever created, I also worked with soft-style art and was a leader in the pop art movement, along with others such as the more recognized Andy Warhol. In the pop art movement, I was credited for helping to expand the era, by becoming one of the first artists to use sculptural expressions as a form of modern pop art. After the early 1970s, after I became the king of pop art as I was known, I worked almost exclusively on collaborations with other groups or artists to further my ideas for massively scaled up sculptures of everyday objects. I was featured at the Sidney Janis Art Gallery 3 times, in 1964, 1966, and 1970. With my postmodern and surrealist style, I quickly became one of the gallery's biggest names. My two most prominent sculptures that were featured in the gallery were Giant Soft Fan, which was a vinyl, wood, foam, and leather sculpture of a massive desk fan that appeared almost melted or drooped towards the viewer, as well as Pastry Case, which was a set of 9 plastered food sculptures such as ribs and cake, set in a glass case. I often say that my works were all envisioned in my head as a child, and that I used my sculpting to bring my surrealist dreams and ideas to life. I continue to live in New York and produce art and sculptures to this day. Throughout my career, I have won numerous awards for my art, including the Wolf Prize of Arts in 1999 and the National Medal of Arts in 2000. My most recent notable sculpture, Paint Torch, is a 53-foot-tall paintbrush whose bristles illuminate at night, giving the impression of the brush being on fire.
While the up-and-coming artist Peter Max was not shown in the gallery, artists like Andy Warhol helped influence his future art pieces. Ever since he was a boy, Max had a love for astronomy, and it influenced many of his works. This love for astronomy led to what he himself described as the Cosmic 60s, where he used color psychedelic imagery to create portraits and vivid landscapes. Due to the bright and vibrant colored style of his work, he also caught the eye of many advertisers, magazines, and international agencies which sought him out for a wide variety of projects. In 1964 to 1967, Max's work mainly consisted of collages, an art style that was made popular by the counterculture of the 1960s. During this time, he developed a unique style of collage by arranging photos or images in kaleidoscopic patterns. An example can be seen in one of his works, number 12, Captain Midnight, where Max takes images from a comic and arranges them in such a way that it looks like you are looking through a kaleidoscope.
The artists of this exhibit do not take their title lightly. The New Realists have definitely developed a new approach of bringing the present world around us and art closer together. The art of the now will last much longer than today or tomorrow. It will stand the test of time. The standout pieces featured in this exhibit give us a look at the ever-changing world around us. Representation of values in America are shown through the work of these artists. Any distaste toward this exhibit is either from being afraid to relate to so many people, as this art encompasses the ideas we have today, or it is from rejecting the popular culture of our time that these pieces encompass. Andy Warhol is helping bridge the gap between high class and low class by using common figures in the media, like Campbell's Soup and Marilyn Monroe, that we are all familiar with. No matter your class, when looking at these pieces, the viewer can't help but to feel acquainted with both the artist and the piece. Familiarity is something that this new realist art evokes that many artists have continued to resist. The sense of understanding reminds the viewer of good feelings and should be embraced. There is much room for error presenting popular icons in unique ways that are both recognizable and original, and many of the artists in this exhibit did it quite well. Wayne Theobald gives us a glimpse into how Americans use food for celebration and comfort. His displays of sweet treats remind us of times of happiness and the joys in life. The neatly displayed items make us feel nostalgic for the moments in our life that were the best. Roy Lichtenstein captures the style of comic panels that we know all too well. He captures all viewers' attention, men and women, by representing things familiar to both genders, women in their homes for females and war images for males. The goal of this art is to capture the ideals of the modern age. The subjects that these artists choose are well known for this time, and because of this exhibit, will be known throughout time. To see your life through art and relate to the images displayed in your daily life is not something to be downplayed. It is extraordinary.